Welcome to On the Economy. Today I'm fortunate enough to be able to interview one of my colleagues here, Hannah Shaw, who's one of our research associates at the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities. And those of you who read my blog often might occasionally see a hat tip to HS. Well,
I'm one of those at least.
Yeah, there's HS. So look, today the jobs report was really quite disappointing. Hannah, give us the top line statistics, kind of the big numbers that jump out at you here.
So the unemployment rate ticked up slightly to 8.2%. The jobs numbers were pretty disappointing. It was 69,000 for May, and they revised down both March and April. So the only one of the good news was labor force participation recovered from its drop last month. But we still have over 5 million people who've been unemployed for over 6 months, 23 million people who are underemployed in part, working part-time for economic reasons, who've given up looking or are unemployed. So we're still...
So if we took the unemployed and we kind of added in the underemployed, what would the rate be? Somewhere in the mid-teens?
Yeah, it's 14.8%.
Yeah, okay. So that's probably a better measure of labor market underutilization. Also on the deceleration of job growth, one of the things I like to do with these monthly numbers, because they jump around, is to take an average over a few months. And if you go back over the past 3 months, we've been adding, on average, 96,000 jobs per month. But if you go to the prior 3 months before that, the number was around 250,000 per month. So that's a big deceleration. So let's talk for a second about why we're stuck in this mess that we're in. I've been impressed, maybe depressed is a better word, with some of the work that you and our chief economist Chad Stone have been doing on the tailing off of the extended benefits program on unemployment insurance and all the people who are losing those benefits, which strikes me as particularly anti-stimulative right now. Tell us a little bit about that research.
So currently, nearly 400,000, over 400,000 people have lost benefits from the extended benefit program, and by June that number will be a lot closer to 500,000 people.
Wow. So these are people who were getting unemployment benefits. They didn't get a job. They didn't lose their benefits because they're now working, correct? They lost them because the program ended.
Yes, and the program ended not because the unemployment improved in their states, but because the unemployment rate has not gotten worse in their states.
I see. So it could just stick where it is.
And they would still be losing them.
Which is kind of the national situation. I mean, the unemployment rate ticked up 1/10, but it's basically been, hovering around 8.1, 8.2 for a while.
Exactly.
So that's what we're stuck. So let's finish off by talking a little bit about why we are stuck where we are. And I think one of the things that I've been writing about on my blog this morning is the way political gridlock has contributed to this. If you remember back in September of last year, the president proposed the American Jobs Act, and many of us around here wrote favorably about that, and I view that as a kind of insurance, policy insurance against precisely the kind of situation we're in right now, a set of jobs measures that would help to temporarily offset some of the demand contraction that we're still seeing. And the fact that we haven't done that is bad. The fact that we're letting things like extended benefits fade, and now we're talking about the fiscal cliff and having another debt ceiling fight. It strikes me that these are all exactly the wrong medicine right now. I mean, do you have any views on that?
I think what we always said in the unemployment insurance debate is that right at the time where we need to be putting our feet on the accelerator, we're hitting the brake.
I think that's right. And isn't it true that when it comes to kind of the multiplier effect, kind of the spillover kinds of benefits from these programs, unemployment insurance scores pretty high, right?
It's always right up at the top of the list.
Why is that?
So people who receive unemployment insurance benefits are out of work, and therefore they need the extra money that comes in the form of benefits, and they spend it quickly. And when they spend it in local stores that are then...
So they spend it in a local store. The local store then has to restock the shelves sooner than they would have otherwise, and that could be some more hours or another job for someone. So again, this is one of the kinds of... we need to at least be in do no harm mode, and it does feel like policy is pushing in the wrong direction.
So Jared, you've written a lot about this on your blog. What do you think needs to be done?
Well, there's kind of what we should do and what we could do. I think the Federal Reserve has said that if things get worse, they'll do another round of quantitative easing, and things just got worse. So they should do that. That would perhaps help put some pressure on interest rates, but interest rates are already very, very low. So I don't know if there'll be a lot of traction there. I think we really need more fiscal policy, but as we've said, not so likely to get that from Congress. So I think the thing that we maybe should do right now is for members of Congress who've been extremely divisive with all the gridlock going on to recognize the urgency of the situation and try to resolve the outstanding fiscal issues as quickly as possible, whether it's the fiscal cliff or the debt ceiling. Stop picking fights about how, we won't draw the line here and we won't compromise. That's very, very much counterindicated given this jobs report. So I think the least that at least our political representatives need to do is come together under the rubric of do no harm. Well, thanks very much, Hannah, for going over the jobs numbers today. Maybe you want to say a few words about some of the other things on the Center on Budget's blog today.
So if you check out our website, www.centeronbudget.org, you'll see a statement from our chief economist. Also check out the blog, offthechartsblog.org. And there'll be, you can see some graphics on today's jobs report and also a link to our chart book, which has graphics on lots of different economic indicators, including all the things that came out today.
All right, well, thank you very much, and
Thanks,
we'll talk
Jay.
to you next time.